Amy here with Years of Ears and Brad, and it's This Day in Disney for October 7th. And starting off, we're headed to way back to 1918 with the birth of a Disney legend, Norman "Stormy" Palmer.
Wow.
So he was one of Walt Disney Studios' most celebrated film editors. Yeah.
Editing.
Yeah, where you'll see all about editing with him for sure. So he was born in Santa Ana, California, and he joined as a projectionist at first, and then because he had actually interviewed to work at Disney, and then he went up to Oregon and was a rancher and got a call that he had got the job at Disney, so he came back down as a projectionist, but then he quickly transferred. This happens so much at Disney Studios, but they start out in one place for just a bit, and then, you know,
even today at the cast level, one of the things I love about Disney, at least in the past, was they allowed you every 3 to 4 months to put in for a different assignment in your place. Just amazing.
Yeah, over at the parks and stuff, absolutely. Yeah, find your, to be able to find your niche, your talent, and things like that in all aspects of the company. I think companies should follow that for sure, because he started there, and then in '38 he was transferred to the editorial department, where he worked actually on Pinocchio and Fantasia.
Wow. Right,
so he's really, really talented with the film editing. And back then, of course, we're talking about reels and reels of film. And totally different than today, right? So Palmer is actually best remembered for his contributions to Disney nature and animal features such as the Living Desert, the Grand Canyon, and Waterbirds. So
there we go. So his rancher element and his background.
So he had a talent for really taking raw footage and being able to make it into something enjoyable. So he was actually a mentor to young Roy E. Disney.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yes. He actually retired after 45 years of working for Walt Disney Studios in 1983. So I was wondering about the nickname. I had to search a little bit to find it, because they called him Stormy. That was prior to working at Disney. It was actually went all the way back when he was like 1 or 2 years old. His dad nicknamed him Stormy.
Okay. And
he said that, I'm not sure if I deserved it, but it stuck.
There you go.
So he has no idea. It's kind of cute. So that
interesting that he retired in 1983, like right before the VHS and all those releases of films like started changing the way that we produced and everything. Very interesting. Yeah, probably a good time to get out.
Yeah. Before you have to learn all the new technology and things like that as well. I don't know if that was his motivation, but it said, this quote by Dave Bossert said that he took tens of thousands of feet of raw footage and was able to craft it into something that was most riveting and beautiful and entertaining nature films ever created. That series of Oscar-winning films, which was the True Life Adventures, set the gold standard for many years and helped to inspire the many generations of nature filmmakers that followed. And this just gives me chills a little bit, because I mean, there's so many nature films these days, and stuff on TV. Disney had a big, the Walt Disney Studios company had a big part in that happening.
For a long time, they were a genre unto themselves. I mean, even like their popularity waned so much in the 90s, even with cable channels completely dedicated to nature. It became kind of a personality game with like Irwin and different people that really associate with animals. So I mean, they defined it, they created that genre. It really wasn't until Planet Earth and the BBC and the Disney nature films that such great things were done. It's pretty amazing.
But like going back to the True Life Adventures and things like that, I mean, thinking of Stormy Palmer, he really actually had a hand in creating why nature films are so popular, because he was able to make it interesting And you know from editing, going through footage, like how long that takes these days. He's going through raw, you know, physical footage and was able to put it. He was a true artist. So I'm impressed with him, and you guys think of him when you watch those nature films because he had something to do with why they're so great today. So at least in my thoughts. So next up, in 1971, we're talking about that year
all
again.
All the time.
Right now. We're going to talk about it a lot. But this has nothing to do with Walt Disney World opening. It's actually something you love.
Yeah.
In 1971, on this day, Bedknobs and Broomsticks was released.
Goodness. My definitely top 3, top 5 live action, but pretty high up there. Difficult to even give a number 2. Love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. We love it.
Yeah.
So this Disney animated live action musical Bedknobs and Broomstick premieres at the Odeon Theatre in London, England.
Wow.
So it premieres.
It deserves that London premiere for its locale, so for sure.
It actually premiered in America 2 months later, like in December.
Of course.
So it's based on the books The Magic Bedknob, or How to Become a Witch in 10 Easy Lessons.
There you go.
Yeah, which that book is in.
Which she did so well.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Angela Lansbury obviously stars in this, and David Tomlinson.
Yeah.
They did great.
I mean, for me, Angela Lansbury, like, just fell in love with her as a child in this character. And for years and years and years, this was all that she was to me or needed to be, is this character in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. No. I mean, I knew of her there because, I mean, I did. I had a paper route and it was regularly on the front of the TV guide, at least once a year. But, I mean, obviously she's our beloved Mrs. Potts. Yes. But that was just like a comeback and a wonderful, like, honor. She is and will always be this character to me. So. Yeah.
So, obviously, just the story of it, that she's an apprentice witch during World War II. She actually acquires or gets 3 children. They're her
war orphans at the time.
And that's what she lived in a country, and that's what happened during that war. All the children were sent out into the country to live with family members or people
away from the bombing areas of London and
or anyone
Liverpool.
who was willing to do that. Yeah, that was rough. So there's this they're searching for this component of a magical spell useful to the defense of Britain during the World War II.
And she has all but the last lesson to become a witch, and she's very insistent on Tomlinson giving her the final lesson, and he doesn't know it.
He's like a con man, basically.
He doesn't even know
He's a cynical con man. And so
he can't believe it's working. So it all comes from within her. 100%. She's a witch. It's awesome.
So this film got shelved a bunch because of the similarities with Mary Poppins. Now, for me personally, I think for you too, I don't compare the 2 films
at all.
I don't see Mary Poppins and this film as similar.
I can see the technique, perhaps, and the gender of characters and stuff like that, but they're very different.
Because they were talking about this film, or wanting to start this film in 1960, and I think they got started, but it got shelved. But it didn't get completely made and released till 71. So, but that's why people of that era and even the critics and stuff compared the 2 films, because they were so close. Maybe if we were, in
technique
then,
and character gender,
we would have maybe compared them, but in our minds we don't.
Sure.
So it was nominated for 5 Academy Awards.
There you go. That's another reason to compare with Mary Poppins.
But it only won one for Best Visual Effects.
Not a reason to compare.
So this was the last film released prior to the death of Roy O. Disney. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to him, and talking about 71. They finished Walt Disney World. Really, we have Walt Disney World because of Roy O. Disney and all that he did to make sure his brother's dream came to life. And literally it opened, and then he passed away in December of that year, and I'm getting emotional. I'm so sorry. It's just emotional to me to think of just all the work
what
that
they
accomplished,
and his support,
his love of his brother, and making sure that his brother's dreams really did come true. He was the finance man, and anyway, there's so much we could say about Rowan.
Indeed. And well.
So he passed away a week after this film was released in America. So, I also saw, getting ourselves out of the emotional thing, right? At least me. In 2020, this year, there was supposed to be a stage musical in production.
Of Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with it or anything. Can't find more information.
It's not
so
going.
Shelved, like so many things, because
like
of
its own history.
Situation.
It's cursed. It needs a good witch to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So the filming, they mostly filmed it at Burbank Studios. The Nazi scenes were shot in a beach in California.
Okay.
It was really cute. So the additional scenes were shot on location at Corfe Castle in Dorset, England. So there's definitely the castle, real feelings there. The filming the live action was 57 days. The animation took 5 months.
Okay.
So little perspective on how hard that work is, at least, especially back then, the transitioning and putting these into films and stuff. So give some big props to animators, because it's hard work. So Vincent Canby of the New York Times was reviewing it. He highlighted the Nabumbu, the live action animated sequence, as the best of Disney, going all the way back to the first Silly Symphonies.
How interesting.
Yeah. He said what the movie basically may lack in charm, kind of nodding to Mary Poppins, it is more than measures in inventiveness. It is doubtful if special effects or animation have ever been or used to greater advantage alone. They are the reason for the film's success.
There you go.
So, yeah. I think to us, we just like the whole film.
We do.
We do.
Bobbing along.
I think it's great. So
through the beautiful briny sea.
Yeah, exactly. It's adorable. We really loved it. So go check it out. If you haven't seen Bedknobs and Broomsticks, you have to check it out. So yeah, and pay respect to all the people behind the scenes, and some of them are the reason why we do things the way we do today, like Stormy Palmer and his film editing. So that's it for this day in Disney. Thanks for coming along, hanging out, and your love of that movie, because honestly I wouldn't love it as much if it wasn't for Brent. So so we'll see you guys next time.